Okay, here we are.
There you is.
We are live. We're just trying to turn our things on here. Everything's going ghost on us. Um, we were going to do TJ Lane today, but we're going to do that as our next one. We have news on Tina Munro, so we figured we'd do an update on a few people, I guess. But the main one's Tina Munro. It's charged. I don't know why it's not working.
Anywho,
Here,
in case you forgot, it's the hitchhiker.
Yes, it's the hitchhiker. Freeway Killer.
I know.
Anyway,
No,
that one works.
I meant...
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. That's not dead. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, so you guys know that our podcast is going to be, in his trial and everything. And he went August 19th, which was a few days ago, and he had to beat a robbery charge, a murder charge, and a sodomy charge. He beat the sodomy charge. That's a really hard one to beat. But he beat that, or she beat that, I'm sorry. She beat that. The next one is the robbery, and the other one, and the murder, which the robbery one, they're probably going to beat too. And the murder's probably going to be the hardest one to...
Right.
But, it's her word against...
Give her time served because she didn't actually...
If she only has the robbery charge, they have to let her go, because robbery is only so many years. You can't put somebody in there for life for robbery. Now, murder, okay, that's different. But they'll probably drop the robbery charge, and they'll probably keep her on the murder, but she feels really good that our podcast, her lawyer said that our podcast could possibly help her get out. So, that's what we're waiting on now. She goes back they haven't got an exact date. She said either October or January. They're going to give her an exact date. I think October is for maybe the robbery charge, and then January is the murder charge, but I'm not really exactly for sure yet. She's supposed to get back to me on that. It's really, really gonna be like a nail biter on this one if she can beat that or not. And you figure that, Mr. Bonin's not alive anymore. Vernon Butts, I think he killed himself in his cell. And then there was another one that was there with him too, and he got out. He served time served.
He passed away in 81.
Yeah, Vernon Butts, I think he was the one that killed himself in his cell. Oh. U.S. Secure lost murder tapes. Yes, so he killed himself, so Tina is the only one that's left in there. Yeah, now it seems like we're going over the whole thing again, but we're not. I feel, honestly, for Tina, if you've ever, we're pretty close with Tina. We talk to her a lot and everything. And when we first started talking to her, she was explaining, besides her transcripts and stuff, not one time did she ever blame her past for any of this.
No.
Not at all. That's the one thing I'm pretty impressed with, because a lot of them, they start back on how they were abused, or like she was adopted, had abusive times, but that was not the reason why she did all this. That's the thing. A lot of people...
A lot of it was out of fear for herself.
Absolutely, and I feel now. I know the families wouldn't agree with this, and I would feel the same way. Okay, if they killed my child, I want every aspect of them dying or living life out in prison. Um, but I feel
But
that
this was through coercion. It wasn't he went out and
yeah,
hunted the person down and did it.
I feel that when she left at 16, I think she met him about 17, somewhere around there. Um, she met up with some guy that, had interests that she liked, being a truck driver, being a construction worker, had so many things in common that they, you know, things were promised and she thought, okay, this is going to be good for me. Maybe I can get out of what I'm, being like this, whatever. And she went with him. And I don't think she realized who she was really with until it was too late. And I think the fear
Well,
thing is.
if your life's threatened, you're gonna be kind of scared into doing anything just so you can survive.
Well, that's where fight or flight comes in. And I get, a lot of people are like, well, why
You
didn't
need
she
to take
just.
that into consideration.
Absolutely. And I think that some people were like, well, she had times where um, she could have just up and left, like when he was sleeping. But sometimes you don't know. Like those kind of people that kill like that, they're light sleepers. They have like alarms. They have weapons on them at all times, like when they're sleeping. So, like even if she tried to escape, and he would have caught up with her. Um, when she finally did, everything. She ended up getting, what was it? Just for the one, I think it was that she got.
But you should check out his podcast and update yourself so you can.
We also got a book, which I think Katrina still got it. About the freeway killer, and it tells like the pretty much everything that was like you know transcript wise and everything, and from uh Tina's interviews and everything like that. It's a really it was based upon her life, and it was really good book. Um, Now Bill Bonin, they said that nobody picked up his remains, so they were dumped in I think the ocean or something with other remains. That's what they did with them. Yeah. So Vernon Butts. Now he was the accomplice too. He was an accomplice, and he was a drifter. He had a pretty long criminal record of like petty offenses and stuff like that. Um, Doing life in prison.
Yeah, but he did several killings.
Mm-hmm.
She
She only did the one,
unwillingly.
but I don't
did
think it was
one.
willing. I think it was out of fear because he was there, and it was happening, and there was what are you honestly supposed to do when he was in the middle of killing somebody? I mean, what are you really supposed to do? I don't know. Um, I hope I had never have to be in that situation. Matthew Miley, I guess he was another one that killed with him. But I think he's the one that got out though. So after so long of being in there, and then Tina Munro, and that was the one with 19-year-old Stephen Wells.
It's gonna be interesting to see
Yes.
what becomes of this.
Yeah, she's in the penitentiary for the role in Wells's death, and said that Bonin and Wells had sex, and Bonin offered Wells $200 if he could tie up the young man. And Wells agreed. That was that other kid. No. I'm sorry, wrong person. Munro said he had watched TV in another room while Bonin tied up sexually assaulted the youth in his own mother's bedroom. Bonin called him in and said, at that point, I knew it was real. Bonin went to go get a glass of water. I told him, no, don't do this. But Bonin said, it's too late. There's nothing that you or I can do can stop it. Bonin and Munro helped kill Wells. Yeah. But Munro claims he was in another room when the man was strangled. Regardless of his actions, the first-degree murder, which could have put him in the gas chamber right next to Bonin and Butts. But Butts, I think, killed himself. After Wells was dead, Bonin and Munro took the body into Bonin's van over to Butts' home and who told him to go dump it somewhere. The next day, Wells' body is found behind a gas station dumpster. Yeah. If the killers had tarried just a little longer in their apartment, they would have been observed by the LAPD detectives who had began surveillance of William Bonin, and there was a chance they would have been able to save Wells' life.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda, though. You can't really.
They can't really say that for sure because they really don't know. They're just
they
assuming.
Don't know how far he had already gone before they could have known.
That's just an assumption. The night of Wells' murder, Bonin hinted to Munro that the drifter had better keep his mouth shut or else. Munro feared for his own life and fled back home to Michigan. 9 days after Wells' murder, Bonin's demons apparently returned and began looking for a new victim. That tells you right there. You know. Butts was picked up shortly after Bonin, and Munro was arrested by Michigan State Police a month later. The freeway killer team was behind bars. This time there would be no clerical errors. Bonin expressed no remorse for what he had done. After his arrest, Bonin told reporter, I'd still be killing. I couldn't stop killing. It got easier each time. He confessed to killing 21 young men and boys. Both me and Jim beat him up prior to killing him, which was James Munro. Bonin said he heard saying in soft monotone on police voices, he said he couldn't tell anyone, just let him go. He wouldn't tell anyone, just let him go. So Bonin could be heard saying that. He said he wouldn't tell anyone, just let him go. Yeah. So that's just crazy. After 17 years, that's when he got the death penalty. I'd like to get Bonin's book. He wrote a book of short stories. But I can't find it because it's sold out everywhere. I don't know. Wow. The final insult to the people of California didn't come until several weeks later when it was revealed that the Bonin's family had been cashing his Social Security disability checks. Bonin's mother, Alice Benton, told the newspaper she used the money to make about $75,000 in payments on her Downey home.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember seeing that either. That's weird. I out of everything we have read and research we have done,
I really don't remember.
That was never ever said on there. The payment benefits which Bonin began receiving for mental disability in 1972 should have ended when he went to prison in 1982. But the money kept flowing, even though prison officials notified Social Security that Bonin was behind bars. The error came to light only after the funeral director notified Social Security of Bonin's death.
Wow.
17 years. One of the men who assisted during his killing spree, Miley and Munro, remained in prison. Miley is serving 25 to life for first-degree murder. I thought they said he got out. And Munro has served more than minimum 15 life sentence for his second-degree murder plea. He was eligible for parole in 2000, but parents of Stephen Wells made it to the point to make sure he serves the maximum. He He said, I was just a stupid kid. If I would have known 15 years life, then I was never getting president, I would never have pleaded guilty. For the survivors of the freeway killer, Mindz Bonin's execution hasn't meant an end to their grief. I can imagine that. Now I stay home all the time, paranoid. I don't go after dark. The only thing that gets me out of bed is my hobbies. I crochet and painting, said the mother of one of Bonin's victims. The people say time makes it easier. Well, I'm still waiting. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I thought the one guy got out. He ate pepperoni and sausage pizza, Coca-Cola, and a chocolate ice cream. That was his last meal. I thought that kid got out. I'm gonna have to look that up because I swear we had read
Right here.
uh
His accomplices.
Miley, that kid Miley. Where's he at? Matthew Miley. That would be another
Gregory
one.
Miley, convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He was killed by another inmate.
Oh, he was killed. That's why they said he was out. Okay.
And then Vernon Butts killed himself.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Matthew Miley. Or what they call him? Gregory Miley. But yeah, Matthew was his middle name probably. Okay. So that's why they said he got out.
And then
Because that was
this
why.
Pew guy was 19, alleged accomplice of
Nickname Boy Don. Yeah, like I said, we're not going over the whole thing, but we were just explaining to you guys that we have an update, and he is beating the charges. And our podcast is going to be at it's going to be at the harder charges, which is like the murder charge. That's where our podcast is going to come in at. We are. If you want to Google it, you can Google it, and it tells how our podcast is going to be there. Well, we won't be there personally, but they're taking some of the interviews we have done with him. He has, yeah, Gregory Matthew Wiley. He has done many other interviews. There was one with Unforbidden Truth, and I did listen to that. But they didn't do like what we did with our podcast. You know, she told some of the story, and they didn't really do what we did. His or her lawyer thought it was kind of the way she was explaining it. They thought it was kind of unique the way we did our podcast with her. So they took a couple of the interviews that we did, and they're going to be used in the trial. But she did quite a few, and we've listened to quite a few of them, and they didn't do anything compared to this, compared to what ours was at all. Okay, so Miley was. Okay, so he died. So Tina is the only one that's left on death. She's the only one left in prison now out of all of them.
Well, what happened to this William Pugh guy, though? Because it says...
Maybe it was William Pugh then that got out. Hold on a second.
Somebody got out. It says he still faces a trial in Orange County, but
William Pugh. William Pugh. Why is it not showing up? Okay. Here we go. William Pugh. In May, William Pugh was arrested for an incident unrelated to the freeway murders. William Pugh turned Bonin in and also agreed to testify against Bonin. He received 6 years. Okay, he was the one that got out.
But he was involved in 44 deaths. How did he already get out?
He got out. He received 6 years for manslaughter. That's all he got. He was arrested in May. William Pugh was arrested for an incident unrelated to the freeway murders. William Pugh turned Bonin in and also agreed to testify against Bonin. Pugh received 6 years for manslaughter. So they might not have been able to. Man, that looks just like Monroe. Sorry, I just happened to look at that. Wow. Yeah. So maybe they were hard to.
Because he was charged with sodomizing and killing.
But they might have made a big plea because they probably needed more evidence with him. I'm assuming.
Wonder if he changed his name because of all this.
Yeah, William Pugh. There we go. I knew somebody had gotten out. He was alleged accomplice of convicted freeway killer William Bonin. Was to go to trial on charges he helped Bonin kill a 15-year-old runaway. Pugh was charged with sodomizing and killing Harry Todd Turner, whose nude and strangled body was found in an alley near downtown Los Angeles in 1980. Turner was one of the victims of the freeway killer case, which involved the loosely connects of 44 young men. But I don't think he still faces a May 17th. This is a while ago, though. Yeah. I don't think it's anything soon. For 4 additional murders. 2 of the accomplices were sentenced to prison. Gregory Miley, 20, and received 25 years to life. And James Burrows, also 20, was sentenced to 15 to life. Okay, so he had to have really done some sweet talking. Because there's really not much on him.
Well, yeah, because they got him because he went up against. So.
Yeah, he probably had more. Yeah. Because I don't think yeah. Okay, so I knew there was one that got out, unless, because I was thinking, well, maybe it was just the one. But, because he got killed, but no, okay. The one about his mom spending his disability checks, I don't remember any of that. That's just. David McVicker, who is now 35 and a disc jockey at Santa Ana. Well, he was 35 at the time. Nightclub. Wow.
At least 43 proven victims and dozens more suspected. He's a busy boy.
The fourth accomplice, aspiring magician Vernon Butts, hanged himself before trial using a knotted towel in the jail cell. Yeah, I remember saying he hung himself.
I remember that part, but I didn't remember us going over the mom was still cashing out.
That was, after all the research we did, that was never ever said. Never. So I don't know about that one. That one I don't know.
But she's keeping us updated and in the loop still.
A year later, Bonham was found guilty of Orange County murders and again sentenced to die. His mother, Alice, testified Bonham was a kind and helpful man who always steered clear of drink and foul language.
It's because he was too involved in other things.
If he had a bag of candy, he gave it away, she testified. That's not really a good thing to say. Because they're underage kids in a van. And I really feel bad for the families. And, you know, we're not saying that Munro, like, you know, he didn't know right, she didn't know right from wrong, but in this situation, like, this is just from, like I said, we don't judge, but this is just from us personally talking to her, video chatting with her, and getting to know her. And we also have the transcripts and everything that, you know, she never once complained about her past. That is the one thing, because we've you know, went back and forth with several people, and you know, that are serial killers, and they said
someone else's fault.
Yeah, but we had one that said, no matter what the situation, whether you had the best childhood or the worst childhood, that does not that doesn't like speak for what your actions, because you could have the best childhood and still kill somebody. You could have the worst childhood and still kill somebody. But you have the way to change it. You can't always blame your past for anything. That's how people try to get away with stuff, is they blame their past. Not everybody has a great past. But I mean, there's some of these serial killers that said that they had a great past. They had both parents. They were in good schools, got good grades, and it was just, they did it. They just killed. And we had one that told us that everybody has the ability to kill. Everybody does. There's just got to be some way to engage it. I remember one of them telling us that. Everybody has the ability to kill. There's just something that's got to engage it. And it's really weird how he explained that. He's like, everybody has it in them to kill. Everybody does. Just some people, it wasn't engaged, and some people it was. So that one I really couldn't. That's just something I'd have to look more into.
Well, yeah, I mean, someone's threatening your husband or your child.
Not only that, but I think when you get pushed to a point in life that you just had it, and then you happen to see the one person that reasonably did it for you like that.
Your breaking point.
Your breaking point, absolutely. So it's really hard to say, but that was kind of put pretty good. You know, everybody has it in them. They just. But that is the one thing she did not do was.
Well, how do you rest at night knowing you killed 43 innocent people?
He had no.
And they were kids.
Soul.
He had like no remorse for anything.
Yeah, there was a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, 15-year-old, 12-year-old, 15. Bonham's last victim was not killed, and that was co-defendant was George Matthew Miley, James Michael Munro. Both co-defendants were in Summer, Los Angeles case. Vernon Butts committed suicide. William Ray Pugh, James Michael Rose, second-degree murder, 15 to life. Yeah. But Bonham seemed to have a way with people to get them to.
It was a bag of candy.
Yeah.
His mama probably got with her extra check.
I can't believe that. twisted, 2 large pepperoni and sausage pieces, 3 pints of coffee, ice cream, and 3 6-packs of regular Coca-Cola. This was his last words. That I feel the death penalty is not the answer to the problems at hand. That I feel it sends the wrong message to the youth of the country. Young people act as they see other people acting instead of as people telling them to act. And I would suggest that when a person has thought of doing anything serious against the law, that before they did, they should go into a quiet place and think about it seriously. Now, he could have been a good counselor. That is crazy. That is very crazy.
I'm sure he had plenty of time to think that one through.
He probably took him the whole 17 years he was there. That's... Now, why did he do that? Why didn't he sit in a quiet place and think about it seriously before he went and did those
Because he's full of bullshit.
Yeah.
If he was out, he'd probably still be killing.
I don't know. Maybe somebody told him that. He just, like, put it in
his
his own
lawyer.
Put it in his own words. But, yeah. That's... because he was visited by the warden and Catholic chaplain, and he gave the following last words to the warden. Warden Caldron. I wonder what the warden... That probably just blew his mind. That would have totally blew my mind. Because, look, Bonden's up there totally just chilling like, Yeah. And I had talked to Tina today. And I told her, we're going to be there. We're there for it, and she's going to keep us updated on everything. And, it's a matter of time. By maybe, by next year, she'll be out.
That's a huge possibility.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe she'll have to spend the rest of her life in there, but if she can keep going for parole, though, because you can, what I'm saying? There is no... It doesn't say without parole, any possibility of parole, so they just keep giving them so many years before the next one. Now, the co-defendant Pugh, who was 17, was arrested on auto theft charges in 1980. He told detectives he accepted a ride home from a party with the defendant, who had talked about killing young boys. The defendant was placed under surveillance beginning June 2nd. That was just a couple days after he got arrested, May 29th. Yeah, so...
Yeah, Big Victory is the one that he released.
Yep. And honestly, they didn't really catch him with them, and they didn't catch him around him, so it's kind of like a hard thing, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah.
Said he gave him critical details to help the law enforcement understand and track their assailant.
Yep.
Wow.
He got a manslaughter charge.
I'm really curious to see how this plays out.
Well, I mean, we're front row and center now. So, in all honesty, we feel that, this is a difficult situation for her right now. And I understand the families are probably going through a rough time because they have to relive this whole thing again and everything. But I really honestly feel that because of Mr. Bonin, if she wouldn't have came in contact with Mr. Bonin, I honestly do not think she would be in this situation at all. Like, right. She would not have the urge to kill.
No.
She probably would have been a drifter or, did some petty theft or something like that, but she probably wouldn't have got any of this. But when you're fight or flight, you you can't stop your body from what it's going to do. You can't stop your brain from thinking. That's just like when you see an animal, when you see a dog running in front of you, your first instinct is to, well, unless you're a serial killer or something or just don't care, your first instinct is to turn that car and like swerve away.
Right.
So, when a police officer says, "Oh, failure to control," you tell them I did control my car because I did not hit that dog. And they say you're supposed to just go ahead and hit them or just go ahead and hit the deer, even if it's a deer. Some people's brains aren't like that. You can't control what your brain's going to do in that kind of an instance. It's just an act of God. That's what your brain does. And that's probably what what she was doing at the time was she was going by what the brain was doing. The brain's like, you gotta do this because if you try to leave, he's gonna kill you too.
Right. Well, she said as much in our interview that she was scared for her own life.
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely. And that's just hard to believe. And this poor guy here, he got killed. Matthew Miley. Or not Matthew Miley. Was it Matthew Miley? Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, the freeway killer, he is no longer. I can't believe his mom did that.
Yeah, so go ahead and let us know what your point of view is.
Yeah, it's definitely, definitely, this is going to be interesting if Munro gets out. That's going to make some big news, like, because, freeway killer accomplice gets out. There's going to be a lot of, well, we're going to be in quite a few interviews probably.
We have pictures still of his.
We also have pictures, we have merchandise, we have radios, um, all kinds of stuff. We have transcripts that she has signed. So if you guys want any of those, um, people do like that kind of stuff. They definitely buy those up because they really, we got a radio left, and so we got some pictures left, but she's supposed to be sending some more, and then we could get more transcripts. If you guys want more transcripts, I can get more transcripts, and she will sign the transcripts for you. But just let us know. Get a hold of us on, the Facebook. Pure Evil Inside the Minds of Serial Killers, and then there's K.A. Blasner, which is another connection to another Facebook thing, and we always announce the time if we're going to be a time change on there. The next one is going to be about TJ Lane. If we hear anything else, we'll just update you at the end of the other podcast. But she wanted us to update and give you guys like a full blown view of what's going on and everything. Okay, so today's the 23rd. So we are not doing it until the 6th. September 6th, that'll be the next one. At 8, unless we change our time again.
I was just trying to beat the storm.
Yes. TJ Lane. And we did message TJ Lane, and we're just waiting for a response to see if he possibly wants to come on, or if he wants to shoot a message, or if he wants to say what he wants to say, and then we say it for him. So we haven't heard anything yet, because we've been talking to quite a few people back and forth, and we're just trying to get everything situated. But okay, that's going to be it for now. See you 6th.
6.
No, see,